Mirasee.
Yeah, that stood out to me as well, especially I'm sure artists, that's not what they're excited about. They really want to be creating their art. But the way that she reinforced that and kind of highlighted the fact that the majority of your time needs to be spent on marketing so that you can actually work on your art. You actually can create and support people in their own creations was, I think, very helpful. And I think it's an important wake up call potentially for artists out there who want to build their own businesses. Hello and welcome to Course Lab, the show that teaches creators like you how to make better online courses. I'm Ari Ini, the VP of Growth at Mirasee, and I'm here with my co-host, Abe Crystal, the co-founder of Rasuku.
Hey there, Ari.
Each episode of Course Lab, we showcase a course and creator who's doing something really interesting, either with the architecture of their course, the business model behind it, or both. On this episode of Course Lab, we're joined by Elizabeth St. Hilaire, a visionary in the world of mixed media art. Known for her vibrant hand-painted paper collages and bold teaching style, Elizabeth has spent over 2 decades inspiring artists around the world through her books, workshops, and international exhibitions. Today, we'll explore how her layered, dynamic approach to art translates into online course design that's as rich and textured as her work. Welcome, Elizabeth.
Thanks. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So could you give us a kind of 30,000-foot view of yourself and how you came to the world of online courses?
Well, so my background, I have a degree in art, right? So I graduated from Syracuse University, and what that looked like then and what it looks like now, like what they prepared us for and what I ended up doing for a living is like completely different, but still applicable, right? So I never thought I'd be teaching online because we weren't doing anything online in 1990. But so I was fortunate that before COVID, I was already teaching online, and then those skills allowed me to then since COVID and since the world changed and a lot of things are online, I was already skilled and versed in that. But I started teaching online to supplement my in-person teaching and to sort of to create a passive income so that once I made it once, I could publish it again. And that was sort of my plan for that. I didn't want to always teach online, but I wanted to have both.
And currently, is the mix of teaching that you do only online? Is it a mix of in-person and online as originally planned? Is it mostly in-person, but you also have the online courses? How does that work?
So I travel every month somewhere to teach in person, but I recently gave a speech for the Sedona Art Center for emerging artists, and I actually evaluated my sources of income so that I could present very well to these people. And I was really surprised to find when I put my profit and loss statement into a bar chart that my online teaching is actually a smidge more profitable than my in-person teaching, which I wouldn't have thought was the case. So that was kind of enlightening. So even though I do travel every month, I try to create a new course every year, and then I will publish that, and I'll publish previous courses. Typically, my rule of thumb is I publish courses 3 times, and then I roll them into a self-study. So I have like a new course every year and a previous course. So I am teaching in person and online, but it's really good to see that the online is so profitable because eventually I may not want to live out of a suitcase every month. So it's great.
So just to clarify, I mean, you were saying that you create a new course every year,
Mhm.
and I'm assuming that's based on demand. So that's based on feedback you're getting, or is that based on what you feel is next? How do you decide on which course you create next?
Well, actually, that's a great question. So it's based on what I want to do next. And what I've done for the past few workshops that I've created is that I've launched them online first. And then I take them in person. So I take the opportunity to put it all together, create all the marketing materials and the support materials for online. And then I get the feedback from students online and I figure out what maybe could be better or what I need to spend more time on or what could be different. And then when I sort that out with online, then I'll take it in person. So the online is a really invaluable opportunity for me to put the whole course together and to prepare it and to present it and to see what the feedback is and how it'll be in person.
Is that a relatively new development over the past couple of years, or is that something you've been doing for a while?
I would say it's new development over the past couple of years. I used to do it the other way. I used to teach it in person first, and then certain amount of people cannot travel, whether it's physical limitations or financial or whatever. So people would always ask, "Oh, I would love to come to this. Could you do it online? So I started doing it that way. But then I realized I could learn a lot by doing it online first. So that's what I've been doing like the last probably 3 to 4 years.
And I looked briefly on your website, and it looks like you have a lot of courses, so a lot of different programs that you're working with people on. Are all of them self-study, or are most of them self-study that people can just go in and buy on, whenever, or are they mostly cohort-based? How do you decide which will be what kind?
So I have like a whole system for that. So what I do is I start it, I launch it, and then I have it with specific dates because I give feedback on all the uploaded images of their project in the virtual classroom. So, but obviously I can't do that open-endedly. So I have a certain amount of dates where the course opens and closes, and I give the feedback on all the uploads. So I present the course like that 3 times, and I do it once a year generally because I have other stuff in my library. So I do it once a year and I do it 3 times with specific dates and my feedback. Then I change it to a self study and make it available at any time. And there is no feedback from me, and I reduce the price, and then people can sign up at any time. So eventually someone could wait to get it for less expensive and whenever they want. But the benefit to taking it while it's first out is that, like I said, I give detailed feedback on everybody's art. So it's definitely value added.
So just kind of based on what you were saying, so it sounds like the way that you do it, every year you have a brand new course that you're developing and teaching, doing that live, as well as would it be 2 other courses that you deliver live that year? And then the one that is oldest next year will then become self-study. You have a new one. And so you just have this pipeline essentially of courses that eventually become self-study.
Yeah. So I just that's why I make a new one every year. Some years I'll do 2. If I make a new one in January, then 6 months later I'll make another one. So yeah, I'm kind of an overachiever, so I always need something to do.
Awesome. And so is there ever a point where you deliver a course live and you decide to not develop it further and not to do it again next year, or not turn it into self-study or anything like that?
Well, there have been a couple of courses, maybe one that I can think of that is probably best suited for online and probably wouldn't be something I would do in person. Like it's something that I don't think would get enough interest to fill a room in an in-person workshop, but was very successful online. So it's kind of a very less complicated, kind of more simple course than I typically offer in person. So shorter and easier. So that kind of a course I'll always just leave online, and I won't take it on the road in person, but I don't think I ever planned to, you know what I mean? I figured it would just be a really good online.
So essentially, based on the course you see in front of you, you make that decision.
Yeah, I make that decision. I like to make them ones that I'll take on the road. Like I'm so well versed at creating the online courses. So for the supplement of my income, I can make a simpler course that is quicker and easier to produce, and I'll just keep it as online, and it's just really helpful for overall income.
And looking through your catalog, it looks like the courses range from around $30 to around $300 in price for the online courses. Possibly the in-person courses cost more. I'm curious, because it's a relatively low ticket offer, I'm guessing you need to sell many to hit your financial goals. So I'm just curious as to your marketing process. How do you market? How do you find people that will come to you and buy your courses? Do people buy multiple courses? How does that work for you in your business?
So yes, I have people that buy multiple courses. They're probably the same people that come to learn from me multiple times in person. I have a very good base of very loyal people that come back time and time again to take the online or in person. For me, selling art and selling the courses and being a traveling teacher is about building those relationships. So I really try to reward and acknowledge people that come back, because I really appreciate that. The marketing, I'm fortunate to have been a graphic designer for a really long time. So I have really good marketing skills and ability. I worked for in-house marketing departments for a long time. So I'm one of those artists. I like marketing and I'm really good at it. Most artists don't want anything to do with it. But if you can't market, you can't sell your product. And if you can't sell your product, you're not going to make a living. So whether you like it or not, you got to figure out either you hire someone else to do it, or you figure it out, or you make a plan and just follow steps 1 through 10. So I do a lot of social media marketing. That can be unpredictable because they will typically squeeze your traffic if you don't pay to boost it. And if you say anything that indicates you're selling a product, then and you don't pay to boost it, then it doesn't always go to your audience. So my biggest marketing tool is my mailing list. So I use MailChimp for a mailing list. And so when I'm advertising a new online course, I have a series of probably about 4 or 5 spaced mailing list emails that I send out for that course, in addition to also putting it on social media. And I save images from the last time the class ran. So I have images of student work. I'll say, here's all the work that was created in this course, and here's the testimonials that people gave. So I use that information. And so, like, when I rerun the course again, a second and third time, I've already got all those email templates and all those photographs and all that marketing material. So once you figure it out once, I apply it the next times. And basically, that technique that I do for the marketing, I apply to every course that I do. So once you have a plan, it's not like you have to reinvent the wheel unless it wasn't successful. The important part is consistency. You have to keep on posting it and keep on talking about it, because there's so much noise about so many things out there now. People will just scroll past you really quick. So you do have to post it 2 and 3 and 4 and many times before someone actually notices it.
How did you grow your mailing list?
So I will add all students who come in person to my mailing list, and they can always opt out if they want to, right? And then I will, on social media, often say, are you on my mailing list? I've got a new workshop that's going to be coming out. And if you're on my mailing list, you'll be the first to know. Or I'll say, join my mailing list to have this or that. I'm always putting out there like reasons why you should join my mailing list. And that definitely grows it. And then when I say that a new course is coming and that my mailing list will have first access to the online opportunity, that always bumps up my numbers. But there's always people that are unsubscribing from your mailing list too. So just like you have to keep marketing your course, you also have to keep marketing your mailing list so that you can keep the numbers up. So it's a lot of promoting. When I spoke to this group of emerging artists, I was like, here's the bad news. You have to market 75% of the time and paint the rest of the time. If you want to make a living, if you want to have another job and do this part-time, that's one thing. But if you want to pay your bills and put your kids through college and pay your mortgage, you have to know that's what it takes.
That's a key element. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So as part of the marketing, you were mentioning earlier that for the people who buy multiple courses, you try and reward and acknowledge the people who return to your different courses and kind of stay in fold. What do you do to reward and acknowledge them?
So I have coupon codes that I'll give, like people that I know have been to many of my in-person, and I know they've been to many online. So I'll give them a discount. I have a coupon code. Also, I do Patreon. And so for my patrons, I always do a coupon code discount, a pretty good discount for my online classes, because I figure they're already supporting me. And every now and then I'll just invite someone for free, mostly to a self-study, as a promotion or as a thank you or show of gratitude, because it's very easy for me to do that. And to someone else, it's a big benefit. I mean, I think my self-studies are still about $125 or so. So if I gift that to someone, it makes them very happy, and it's no big deal for me because there's not even any feedback on my end. So I think that's something that really people appreciate, and it's easy to do.
So I don't think we've had many people on the show who use Patreon. So I'm curious as to kind of the process that took you to, starting a Patreon page, and your experience of getting people to actually support it, as well as I'm just curious, what percentage of your revenue is from that as opposed to courses, and how do you feel about it in general? I'm just curious about all the things related to it.
So it's funny you should say that, because when I gave that presentation at Sedona, I included the Patreon with the online classes in terms of like one income stream. And the CEO there was like, I would love to see if you would separate the Patreon out and to see what that percentage was. So I don't know. Like, I can't answer that. But the reason that I went to Patreon was COVID. So I had already taught online. I had already had an online course with Rizuku. So I already knew how to film and edit, and I already knew the whole. I was comfortable with the whole process. And then when COVID happened, remember, my major part of my income was traveling to places and teaching at art centers across the country and internationally as well. We couldn't do that, and we didn't know how long it was going to be, and it was extremely scary. So I had to pivot to something else, and so I started Patreon. And my biggest fear with that was that I would set it up and promise to present X amount of material, and I would have 2 people that signed up, and then I would be doing all of that work for only 2 people. But it didn't happen that way. I did have a lot of people, and it's really helpful because it's monthly. But the people in Patreon, when I give them a good code, a good discount for an online Rizuku course, many of them, probably 50% of the signups will come from Patreon. So it's still a desirable second kind of online format, because Patreon gives you no way for you as my student in Patreon to upload your work for feedback from me. They can put it in a Facebook group and comment on each other's work, but I don't comment I don't give critique in there. But in the Rizuku online course that are the specific dates, I give the critique and they upload their work. So even to people on Patreon, this is still different and very desirable because they get feedback.
And would you recommend for other artists, other course creators, would you recommend Patreon? And it sounded like what you were saying is that one concern you had was not having enough people for it to be worth the effort of delivering
Yeah.
on the perks that go with Patreon. So, like, what would be your recommendation? What would be your thought for course creators who are considering Patreon as far as what do they need to have in place in order for it to make sense?
You really got to know how to edit video, and it's because now you're producing a lot of video. You're producing a course on Rizuku, and then you're having to produce on Patreon. You choose what you're going to give the people that subscribe to you. So not every artist gives tutorial videos. Some artists will give a postcard or an original sketch or follow me around for the day. Not everybody is teaching. You present whatever content you want to on Patreon, but mine is tutorial videos because that's what I do. I also do YouTube every week. So I guess the advice that I would give, if you want to do Patreon and YouTube and online courses, that you have to be willing to put in a lot of time and effort and be well versed at the video and just keep it on top of everything. It's a lot. It's a lot to keep on top of. The courses on Rizuku are easier than Patreon because you put it together and then you put it out there, and it's not like you're having to create new content every single week. But on Patreon, you could say you're only doing content every other week. You get to structure that however you want. But it can be an overwhelming amount of work and things to keep up with. So I would say don't bite off more than you can chew.
Makes a lot of sense. It just occurred to me that it could be that some listeners don't know what Patreon is. So Patreon is a patron platform, essentially, where you can be a patron of one of the artists or one of the people on the platform. Essentially, you pledge a monthly amount of money that you pay them every month in order to get access to different perks. Abe, any questions?
I mean, it does sound like you have a lot going on. Do you have thoughts about like how do you decide what to focus on, which areas to prioritize, and which courses are kind of like make the most sense for you to invest your time in?
That's a good question. I like every day just look at deadlines, I guess, to decide what to focus on. But when I'm building a course right now, for example, which is something new that I haven't done before, and it's with multiple other instructors. So I have 13 instructors who are submitting videos for this course that I'm working on right now. So right now, based on the deadlines of that's what I'm working on at least partially every day because it's going to launch in June. So mostly it's just deadlines. I just look at, what is due sooner than the other and just focus that way. And I jump all over the place, whether I'm marketing or working on filming for online or, putting together downloadable PDF materials for in-person people. I would say mostly I prioritize based on deadlines. So this multi-course instructor thing starting in June, and I got to back it up a month to market it. Like right now, that's kind of my I've been working on that every day for like the past week.
I mean, have you explored involving other people in giving feedback and critique, or you feel like that's sort of something that you uniquely do that's really important to your students?
I think it's something that I uniquely do because they're trying to create art that looks like my work. So the only person that really can tell them, okay, maybe you should switch this or change that or consider this or do that is, me. So, and it's an interesting point. I don't have anybody help me with anything. So I am a total one person show, from the website to the fulfillment of orders to the filming and the editing. And interestingly, working with these 13 other artists on this multi-instructor event, there are several artists who have someone else that they're paying to edit their video. And I was like, wow, which is great if you can afford to do that. But I was kind of surprised because I do everything myself.
It sounds like in a lot of your teaching is very interactive. There's this element of critique and collaboration, and certainly the in-person work is a lot more interactive. Just curious how you approach that then in your pure self-study like offerings. What's your thinking around how you help people sort of like stay engaged or get results through this kind of purely self-study experiences?
So the self-study experiences, I think it's very helpful, the Facebook group, because I have about little bit over 600 people in the Facebook group, and they're very active. So when someone posts a piece and asks for feedback or ask questions, other previous students of mine will always make comments because they want the same. So they're all very happy to comment on each other's stuff. Once it's a self-study, I make the price like half as much. And when someone signs up, they know that they are going through a self-study and that they are not going to get feedback, but they can, put it in the Facebook group. Also, I'll put those on sale once in a while. So I think that the price point being so reasonable, and there's a lot of people that don't want to commit to Patreon every month because it's prohibitive. So they would love to take one of these self-study courses, get a project from start all the way to finish. All the modules are in one place. It's very easy to find, and they and it fits their budget. So I like it because it's a passive income. So at least once a week, I'll have someone that'll sign up for a self study or download a digital download of a book of mine, which I have on there now on Razuku. You can download the books, purchase the books. So that was a benefit that wasn't an option before I went to the pro. So I love that. And I love the fact that I can design the landing page to look like my branding. And then the multi-collaborator option. I'll let you know how that goes. We haven't done it yet. So yeah, there are a lot of exciting new things with the pro. And I wrung my hands a little bit over overpaying it, but I'm super happy with it.
That's great. Well, any other lessons learned or anything else you think would be helpful to share with other people who want to create courses in creative fields?
I think the marketing is really important because if you're going to put all the time and effort into creating the product, it's like anything else. It's like making a painting. It could be the world's most amazing piece of art, but if you don't drive the traffic to it, it's the same as in person. If you don't drive the traffic to it, you're not going to sell it. So I think you have to really think about the marketing of it. But even before you get to that, you have to have good quality video, good quality audio, good lighting, all of that. And if you can't achieve that yourself, you can always hire someone or find a kid. Kids know how to do everything because you want repeat business, right? You don't want to just sell something to someone once and then have them never come back. The idea of having repeat people that said, "Oh, that was great. I learned a lot. It was good quality. It was easy to understand. She's easy to follow. She's a good teacher. I would like to do another course with her." That's traffic you don't have to drive. They're already coming because they were happy with the product. So it has to be a good product. Otherwise, you'll lose people that you could potentially sell to again. So I try to make my stuff stand out by being a really good product and good value so that people will talk about it to other people and definitely come back.
Yeah, thank you. This was really helpful.
Yeah, you're welcome. I know you have a lot of people that teach like corporate type of workshops. So just so you know, there's a few artists out there, probably more than a few.
No, I say artists have always been one of the primary adopters of Razuku. partly because we've always had the ability to, share images and photos within a course, which is obviously pretty critical.
What I really like about it and how I do it, this is another technique that I use, is that I always duplicate the course and then repopulate it with the new material because I already have figured out the chapters and, the discussions at the bottom and the way the modules should go. So I structure my course basically the same every time. So when you come back as a student, you're familiar with the format. And for me, I don't have to start like all over again with a blank canvas. So I duplicate the course and go through that way. And that saves me lots of time, creates a recognizable brand and a format that people are familiar with. So I love that I can do that because some of my content will carry over. Some of the modules may pick up, from a previous course if it's the same material. So I really like the ability to do that.
That's cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So the last question I have for you, Elizabeth, is, if our audience wants to learn more about you, wants to learn more about the different courses that you deliver and that you have, where should they go?
Well, the easiest place to go is Paper Paintings, it's plural, paperpaintings.com. And you can find my online workshops, my Rizuku courses, and the rest of my stuff there.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for being here and for sharing with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I was honored to be asked. I mean, how cool.
All right, Ari, it's time for the debrief here. And yeah, today we're focusing on courses related to art. It's an interesting area in which to be teaching and working. It has a lot of opportunity, but also a lot of challenges. The first challenge that came up, and it was interesting how Elizabeth talked about addressing it, is you have to get the word out about sort of creative teaching in a different way, right, than you might for a course where they kind of have like a problem or a pain point and they're looking for a course to address that. Marketing's never easy, but it's probably extra challenging in a way in this domain where it's more discretionary. It's more about personal fulfillment. There's not this like burning need, like, gotta go buy this course on mixed media painting tomorrow. So, just her experiences with that were interesting and certainly striking that she said she feels like she needs to spend up to 3/4 of her time on marketing in order for her creation to work as a business.
Yeah, that stood out to me as well, especially I'm sure artists, that's not what they're excited about. They really want to be creating their art. But the way that she reinforced that and kind of highlighted the fact that really the majority of your time needs to be spent on marketing so that you can actually work on your art. You actually can create and support people in their own creations was, I think, very helpful. And I think it's an important wake-up call potentially for artists out there who want to build their own businesses, which is absolutely possible. Just the effort needs to be put in the right place.
So I think that's definitely an important takeaway. I mean, it absolutely applies to other areas as well. That's just,
Of course.
it's probably more, it's you can see the effects of now focusing on marketing more starkly in this area. And she also had an interesting strategy for kind of like testing your courses and then before rolling them out in different formats. I think that could be useful for people as well as how she thinks about pricing too, right? So essentially, there's different ways you can engage with her. It could be live with feedback, it could be in person, or it could be like purely self-study. And so it lets people sort of connect with her in the way that they want and at different price points based on their needs.
What I also like about that is that it essentially gives people, as you said, different options, but it also gives them that potential ascension path so they can start at, trying something out with her, seeing if they like how she teaches and the kind of art that she creates and them creating that art. And then there are additional opportunities for them to do even more and even more as time goes on. And she's always adding more so that there's always something fresh for people who've been around with her for a while to do and to buy from her.
Yeah. And one of the things that I think could be a struggle with self-study courses too is just there's no urgency to buy them, right? Like it's just sitting there. So you can like always put off, buying it. And so having, courses that she can run live, either online or in person, that provides a way to reach people maybe they've been seeing the self-study courses, but they're the kind of person who just immediately jumps in and, buys it and takes action when they see it. They're kind of waiting for something to nudge them along. And so the live opportunity can potentially nudge those people along.
Yeah, either the live opportunity or she was saying that she sometimes runs different sales and stuff like that. Again, just to get people in the door so that once they start spending with her, and this is something also she highlighted, that repeat customers are a very key part of her sales. So getting people to that first sale is really important. And then, of course, working with them and continuing to engage with them so that they continue buying, because repeat customers are always going to be easier to sell to than people who are brand new.
Any other nuggets for you?
That is all I had on my list.
You can find out more about Elizabeth at paperpaintings.com. That's paperpaintings.com. And you'll find a link to that in the show notes, of course. Thanks again for listening to Course Lab. I'm Abe Bristol, co-founder and CEO of Rizuku, here with my co-host Ari Eni. And of course, if you enjoy the show, we always appreciate a review. It really does make a difference.